books. Fantasy football minds, no compromise. They got the knowledge you crave. Hard hitting insight gonna make you win. Listen up closely, let the games begin. Top pick sleepers every week I spin. The FFU universe here to help you win. The fantasy football universe.
Fantasy Football Universe, how is it going? I am SC Romero here with Jeremy Shulman at FF Rebel, J Moeller 05 or Jesse, and Spencer at Buckwild Sports. Gentlemen, how are y'all doing today? Jeremy, we'll start with you.
Chilling, man. I'm exhausted. It's 9 p.m. over here in Amsterdam. But, you know, fantasy football like an animal. 'Tis the season. We got a Reddit AMA. We got a mock draft. We got a ton of crap going on. So just excited, and it's time.
'Tis the season indeed. Jesse, how are you doing, brother?
I am good. We'll see how this feature works. Yeah, life is hectic. It's chaotic. So, yeah, this is what we do, right? It's that time of season where we're getting ready to ramp it up for redraft, and it's really kicking in that we got less than a month till season starts. So, yeah, fired up, baby.
Got some good preseason games happening. Shout out Torrey Horton, who was a Devi Diamond. Shout out Shadur Sanders coming out looking like Shadur Sanders. I'll just say that. Spencer, my co-host for the Devi Planet. How you doing today, sir?
Dude, I'm doing great, man. I'm glad to be here. It's my first roundtable, so this is exciting.
Let's go. You have officially been knighted. Welcome. You're part of the roundtable now. There you go. So today we're going to do a mock. As you know, Jeremy adjusted ranks, part of the FFU universe, has done 30 mocks in 30 days. So we are going to end up doing a mock today. But earlier on today, hopefully y'all were able to join us. We had an AMA. For those that don't know, it's Ask Me Anything on Reddit. So we did have a few questions that we'll go through some of them, just let y'all know our thoughts on it. And then ultimately we'll go into the mock. Before we do start that, though, let's start with some preseason action. Jeremy, was there anything you've noticed in preseason so far? One of the questions was actually, how do you kind of gauge preseason for the season at hand? Do you want to go in a little bit of detail on that and what you've seen so far?
Yeah. Listen, I think these preseason games are largely meaningless unless you are a fan of the team like I am of the Patriots and Travion Henderson runs it back 100 yards and the kickoff return his first NFL touch, or if you're a Seahawks fan and you got Torrey Horton going off. I think these preseason games are a little bit meaningless. I mean, these guys aren't at full speed. The coaches are using it for to rep out things and see how things operate. However, if you get a guy like Torrey Horton, for example, or Travion Henderson, both of these guys are buzzy in camp. They look great in practices. Everybody can't stop talking about these guys. And then they do something in the preseason game. That's what I love to see. The consistent buzz of those guys. Tank Bigsby is another guy who, you know, beat writers and fans cannot shut up about. This is what I want to know. I want to see consistently who's being talked about day after day, week after week. And those are a couple of names who I really like, and they're rising up my board.
For sure. It's definitely important to pay attention to them because you do want to see what the beat writers are doing. But remember, week one, it's a little bit harder because it's like these are the guys you may see a glimpse of them, but they're probably not going to get the reps you want to see at that point. But you brought up Torrey Horton. Jesse, I know you're in Seattle. What are your thoughts on the 5th round wide receiver I believe they took, and Torrey Horton?
Yeah, it all started because Matt Harmon was preaching up like day 3 guys you should draft, right? And it's been a nonstop steady beat for Torrey Horton throughout the entire offseason for him. So it's not like it's a one-off scenario where, like we saw on Reddit, like based on the 100-yard return for Henderson yesterday, if you were on Reddit, somebody said, I've seen enough. Henderson is my RB1 in the class. We're moving on. Like, sorry, right? You know what I mean? But, yeah, with Horton and these day 3 guys, you're more looking for these positive things because they're day 3. You don't expect it right away. So if you could see this continual upbeat, right, you can kind of move them up your ranks. And on the flip side, if it's like any like Bijan, these guys that are round 1 guys, if it's on the flip side of that, then you more worry about that, like with Quentin Johnston and what's going on with him, or Judkins, excuse me. And it's kind of like, you know what, we'll adjust. But for the most part, I don't adjust too much in the preseason because I haven't seen any games played. It changes in week 1. So you kind of just, have to take it with a grain of salt.
For sure. No, 100%. And Junkins, definitely keep an eye on that. Spencer's been doing very well following that case and what's happening. Horton's looked great. Henderson's looked great. Spencer, I know you're a huge Shedeur Sanders fan. But no, I mean, that was the hype, right? In what he would look like going through that adversity and looking good. And honestly, I know people are hyping it up, but he really didn't show anything different than what you and I saw in college. Like, he looked good, the value's there, but what did you think of his performance yesterday, primetime?
Yeah, I mean, listen again. We talked about this preseason. You can't put too much stock into performances, but there were some positives. Obviously, we saw the dot touchdown throws. That's always been a part of his game. He's got great touch. He's a very accurate passer, especially when he has a little bit of time to get going, get his feet set, and throw. We saw that yesterday. I mean, but some of the same negatives kept popping up, and I don't want to gloss over those. He had multiple plays where he just scrambled backwards, and I think he got away because it's preseason. And you can't be scrambling 20 yards back at the NFL level. So I just want to see him keep cleaning that part of his game up. Because, a 20-yard loss on fourth down, that plays a lot differently in the, NFL than it does in college. So,
For sure.
But positives for sure. I think he's a lot closer to being the Browns QB1 than he was a week ago.
100%. Yeah, it looks good. I mean, this might be a time to sell him at a premium price because it looked pretty nice, right? Again, it was preseason, though. So is he going to get the same reps moving forward, or is he going to see down for it just because they're like, we've seen enough? Either way, I think he had to win a roster spot, technically, being that they have Flacco, Kenny Pickett, Dylan Gabriel, who was drafted above him. He needed to win a draft spot, so this was a good outing for him. But let's move forward on to some other Reddit questions here. Wash Your Mouth Out asked, third overall, draft this tomorrow. Target is Gibbs or Bijan or CD Lamb. Keeper info. I'm keeping Bucky Irving in the 16th round. Great keeper. I think we all agree with that. That's fantastic value. Other players being kept, Jamar Chase, Justin Jefferson, Saquon Barkley, Brian Thomas Jr., Jameson Williams, Brock Bowers, Jaden Daniels, Chuba Hubbard, and Jerry Jeudy. Jameson Williams and Jeudy are very interesting. I'm curious what those teams would look like. How are you navigating the first rounds? Gibbs and Bucky would be a hell of a tandem, but where are we building from here? Do I consider Neighbors or Puka at 3 also, or is this one of the big three too big to pass up? Jesse, I'll start with you. Third overall, Gibbs, Bijan, Lamb, kept Bucky in the 16th. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, some of those names, like Jameson Williams and Jerry Jeudy in particular, like, I get it, they're value picks, but like, are you really starting those guys that much in 10-team leagues? Like, I think that's where that question stood out to me. I was like, those two names in particular, like, they're what, at best wide receiver 2s, more likely wide receiver 4 sometimes, right? So if you're keeping those guys, you're already at a disadvantage. So I get it, you're not getting Bucky like the guy who posted the question. That's fantastic value. He's a top 2-round pick. Getting him 16 is fantastic. So with the start 2 running backs, start 2 wide receivers, and like the PPR, it really depends on how you want to build your roster. So that's how I went in this question, and I was like, if you want the 2 elite running backs, then you could just punt running back for a few rounds. You could do that. Or if you want 1 elite wide receiver, 1 elite running back, you could do that. I just went off my rankings, and I had Bijan and Gibbs slightly higher than the wide receivers, but it's really just personal preference at this point. I think that team is in a great spot to build, and they should be a contender straight out the gate.
For sure. Now, Spencer, I'll go to you because Bijan, I think, he's up there with Chase as far as the 101 in redraft right now. 10 teams a little bit different. But, CD Lamb didn't have Dak Prescott all of last season. The season he did have Dak Prescott all of the season was in 2023, and guess what? He was wide receiver 1. So how are you navigating this, knowing you have Bucky as a keeper in the 16th?
Yeah, this was an interesting question for me, and I don't think you could go wrong with 3 guys here, and that's Malik Neighbors, Jahmyr Gibbs, and Bijan Robinson. He asked about CeeDee Lamb and Puka Nacua. I think that those 2 are definitely a tier below those guys for me. He's in a good spot, but owning Bucky, I would go with like a Malik Neighbors here, just because you have balance. You can approach your draft differently. With the guys who are kept, there should be good depth to attack, that second running back later. But obviously, Bijan's in contention for the 101. If he somehow falls to you at 103, you're not going wrong by taking him there. So that's sort of where I fell on this. I think realistically, Neighbors is going to be there. Bijan is sort of your dream spot.
For sure. Now, do you agree with that, Jeremy? Are you, dreaming for Bijan at 3, or are you thinking, okay, he might not be there, I'm going to go with CD or possibly Neighbors? That's a good name to throw in there, too.
Bijan, obviously he's definitely 101 or 102, however you slice it. There's a few other interesting names here. You mentioned Neighbors. You can throw his hat in the ring. Of course, JJ. Although I'm not sure because I think he updated this. He might be a keeper at this point, and Saquon as well. So yeah, those two guys are keepers. But look, do not, as Jesse was over here just a second ago, besmirching the name of Jameson Williams. How dare you, sir? How dare you? But I won't stand for any CD Lamb slander either. I think CD Lamb is a great pick here. I want him over Neighbors. I just think the volume is intense and insane. That team is not going to run. You mentioned it, SC, with Dak at QB. If you compare these two teams, yes, Neighbors is going to have the high volume, but they drafted a higher end running back in Cam Scatterbo. They already have Tyrone Tracy, who's looking decent in camp. So this team kind of has a running game in the New York Giants, certainly better than Dallas, right? And then, CD and Neighbors, yeah, they're probably in for the same target volume, but Neighbors doesn't have anybody opposite him like CD does in George Pickens to take away coverage. And Jake Ferguson, they're probably not going to cover him, but he's going to be so wide open at times and peppered with targets that teams might have to adjust mid-game and then leave CD Lamb wide open. So I think all of these things conspire for me to put Lamb over Neighbors. But yeah, it's close. These guys are awesome.
The only CD Lamb standard we have is that he's on the Cowboys. Other than that, he's a great wide receiver, though. So, no, all great answers, and everyone gave a different kind of concept there. So, hopefully it works out for you. Wash your mouth out. Appreciate you asking the question. That's a very good question there as well. But moving forward on the next one here, let's see here. We had OK_attorney. Who are some of your favorite mid-round targets this year in PPR? Spencer, I'll start with you. Mid-round targets in points per perception. Who you're looking at?
Yeah, so the mid-round targets, this is where I'm going to attack the besmirching of Jameson Williams again, because he's been one of my favorite smash targets. Jameson Williams, Jalen Waddle, and then the aforementioned Trevion Henderson as well. These are guys that just, to me, there's high upside there. I honestly think Jameson Williams has wide receiver one upside in that great offense. Jared Goff isn't running. So, if he gets enough targets, finds the end zone enough, he could get into that low end range. I think wide receiver 2 is more likely. But the drumbeat has been so steady. Tyreek Hill's drumbeat has been the opposite of steady. So Jalen Waddle steps up into the wide receiver 1 role in Miami. I can definitely see it. And I see a return to form where he was before last year. Last year was a real bummer of a season.
And no Johnny Smith either.
Yeah, exactly. So, and then Trevion, you can't go wrong with the explosiveness. We saw it. And a little later, Tony Pollard has been creeping into my drafts. I think he's just a steady running back that you can get as your RB4, plug in bye weeks, put in the flex if you have some great players there. I find him slipping. He's sort of the last running back I'm sort of feeling good about in a lot of drafts. So he's been one of my favorite targets there to round out my team.
Fair. No, those are great values there as well, especially shout out to Tony Pollard because he was definitely a steady producer last season, and nothing really changed for him this year as well. Jeremy, are you feeling any differently? He said Jameson Williams. He brought up Pollard, even Henderson and Waddle. Anything different there, though?
I can't take the shot on Pollard. I get it. Cam Ward, I think, really is the rising tide that raises all the ships in that offense. At the same time, Tony Pollard's a year older. Tajay Spears is good. We kind of trust Callahan, but who the hell knows what's going to happen in Tennessee with that offense. So I find myself backing off of Tony Pollard, but I understand the value that's there. Otherwise, all those 3 other names are guys that I'm smashing in that range, especially Jalen Waddle. I tried to show you guys earlier, and I'll have it out on social media today or tomorrow, whenever I can sort it. But I made a Devon Achane edit to the Kendrick Lamar song. I started out wanting to make a Jalen Waddle edit. And so I was going through all the Jalen Waddle stuff, but then I realized that Tyreek Hill was talking crap about Devon Achane the other day. So it switched to an Achane edit. But, the reason I started there is because Jalen Waddle is one of my favorite values. It was the running backs, right? It was Omarion Hampton. He's risen a little bit. It was Tank Bigsby. He's risen a little bit. Now I'm leaning more towards the wide receivers, specifically Jalen Waddle. George Pickens is a nice value. I've been on Jameson Williams in the 5th every single time. That kind of prices me out of Trevion Henderson most of the time, unfortunately. But yeah, those guys in the 5th round, I don't think you can go wrong with it. And Waddle, you can get in this, late 6th sometimes.
Yeah, for sure. No, also great value picks there as well. It is interesting because the wide receivers, or the running backs, with the rookie class coming in, there is some depth there as well. But when you get to these late values, you can it is smart to get the premium running backs early on and then go get the wide receivers because there's a plethora of them as well. Jesse, I'm kind of going to pivot here because Walks actually asked us kind of like a follow-up question, but his was specific. Who are your favorite late round targets, round 9 through 12, and why? Give us some options there, and give me 1 second real quick.
Yeah, no worries. Like you're kind of getting into the range of players where the downside really doesn't matter at this point. So we're shooting for a ceiling with these players because the floor is not really there. We're talking like you get into the Evan Ingrams of the world. He's kind of pushing it where it's like you pick 90. When you go up a little bit further down, we're talking like Jeremy's already mentioned it. It's the Travis Etienne. If you want the Jaguars potential RB1, you take that. You have your guys like Drake May if you want to take your QB1. I know Joe Mixon's just a disaster right now, but the Houston Texans RB1 is still there if you want to do that. He's a falling knife. Maybe it works, maybe it doesn't. It really depends what you're shooting for because you got guys with injuries like Cooper Kupp, Brandon Ayuk, that are all good players. I'm still going to throw out based on student because this last week's been really good for him. But yeah, it's a mystery post. So you could do Josh Downs. A lot of players, if you like any of them with that upside perceived that you see it, that's where you take them because if they don't make it round 9, like it's not really, you can just cut those guys and you move on. So don't worry about downside with these players. Just shoot for upside. So that's why I like the David Njokers of the world, the tight end. Get a high-end tight end 1, you get that. You take Josh Downs in a good offense if Anthony Richardson can never figure it out. It would work. Or, like Coastal Level, you do that. So there's a lot of guys in that scenario that I like. But yeah, you live with the downside those guys have because more times than not, those guys are not going to hit for you.
Michael T, I do see your question. Give us 1 second here. We'll answer that in a bit. No, I love your picks as well. Even bringing out Joe Mixon, that is some upside, or even the wide receiver or tight end and David Njoku, because Jerry Jeudy, I know he has some value there, but at the same time, he was value because Jameis Winston definitely hypercharges those guys. Joe Flacco sure does, but Joe Flacco can also feed it around as well. So when it comes to it, though, I said Devontae Adams. I don't know if he's slightly rising, but he might be going down just because he's on a new team. There is Puka Nacua there as well. But also James Conner. I mean, James Conner got an extension as well. Trey Benson looks nice, but James Conner is their back, and he's their go-to back in the passing game and even in the running game as well. So those are some late answers there for you. Michael T did come on. He asked, afternoon, working through a dynasty startup, looking for thoughts on QB, looking at Herbert, McCarthy, Caleb Williams, Kyler Murray, or Purdy. Much appreciated. There's a lot of thoughts, I think, for me on that one, because it's like, where are you really at? If these are your starting quarterbacks, I mean, really any of them you could go with, but where are you at in this draft? What's your team look like? I mean, well, what are your thoughts here, though? If I'm looking at these quarterbacks overall, I'm probably going to. I think it's between JJ and Murray, but I'm also scared about JJ, so I'm going to go with Kyler Murray myself. But what are your thoughts in the dynasty here? Jesse, I'll start with you.
I'll take it. So you got Caleb Williams right there. He's going to be the guy that has the most value of all of this group. He's the guy that has the highest ADP. There is risk with him because he was not so good as rookie year, right? So you can do that. Herbert's the floor play. I know people love Herbert. I don't know if the ceiling is there for him because I don't know how much he's going to run in that offense. He ran a little bit. But you're comparing him to Kyler. Kyler's going to run more, so the floor is just a little bit higher, so you can do that. But yeah, if I'm doing this, JJ is not really the one I'm interested in, just because I get it that everything's great for him. But how much are they going to ask for him as a rookie in year 1, and how much will that ceiling rise? Because that's what we're shooting for. Like if I had to bet between Purdy and JJ, I'm taking Purdy this year. I think he's going to outproduce him. That offense is more dependent on Purdy. They took a step up. He started running. He ran for like 300 yards last year, which was kind of under the radar. He gives you that mobility, and he's just a really good quarterback. I know people think he's a system quarterback. He's much more than that. So I would take Caleb, and then the last guy in the group is Purdy. Like I love Kyler, like I always do, but I'll stand for some other guys this time.
There you go, Jeremy. Any differences on that? Do you go Caleb first, or are you feeling something else?
Yeah, I'd probably go Caleb first. I do have him over all of these other guys right now, but Jesse is just talking down my guys. JJ McCarthy, what are you doing? I'm buying into JJ McCarthy because I buy into Kevin O'Connell. We saw it with Sam Darnold last year. I don't expect them to kind of allow JJ to throw the rock around as much as Sam Darnold was. That was more out of necessity, and now we see TJ Hawkinson's back. They fortified the line. They brought in Jordan Mason. So all of these things are conspiring to say this team is going to run more. And we hope this defense is a little bit better than last year. They did well last year, but especially in the second half. So we're expecting that to continue. All of these things say this team is going to run more. But you got Justin Jefferson, you got Jordan Addison when he's back from suspension, you got TJ, you got Aaron Jones out of the backfield. I mean, these weapons are crazy. You got the best offensive mind in the game. So I really love JJ in a dynasty startup because of, like you alluded to, SC, we're talking value, right? So where is he in the draft? What round? Who does he already have on his team? If we're talking about a QB2, which is, if you take a high-end guy and one of these guys is going to be your QB2, I'm happy with McCarthy, and I'll wait a few rounds and collect more value. But yeah, if I want a guy now, it's Williams. And just to Jesse's point, I think JJ McCarthy is Brock Purdy. I just think he's in a similar situation. He's a little bit younger, and you can get him later. So that's why I like JJ.
Fair. Now, Spencer, I know you're a big Justin Jefferson guy, so maybe you go JJ McCarthy here. But also, Justin Herbert's the only quarterback out of this group that has thrown for 5,000 yards. Granted, it's a new system now. It's probably more run heavy. Jesse alluded to him being, more of a safer bet. What are your thoughts if you're weighing between Herbert and McCarthy specifically?
Yeah, I mean, these are the two names I was going to mention, that these two are the ones that I think are similar here. But the main difference to me is that Herbert has kind of shown that he can do it. We haven't seen it with McCarthy, so I lean Herbert slightly. But I trust the offense in Minnesota. If you're looking for high upside, I go JJ. If you kind of want an insulated floor, Herbert's going to be a good quarterback too for probably the next 10 years. I don't see him ever, as long as that offense is installed over there in LA, I don't really see him climbing back into the QB1 range consistently. But I don't see him falling outside. Like, he's not a guy you won't want to start week to week. But fair. JJ could rise up. So that's sort of where I lean. I personally go Herbert, but if I want upside, that's JJ.
Yeah, for sure. I love that. Speaking of JJ Walsh, do y'all answer questions? Yes. Every live show we do, whether it's Dynasty Dog, Adjusted Ranks, Devi Planet, our roundtables, or our start sits, we answer every question we have in the chat. I know you have one here. Give us 1 second, though. We're going to answer another Reddit one before we get to yours. Because Gumpy Dog asked, and I really love this question because a lot of people don't really think about offensive linemen and how much they impact and what we need to watch, especially in fantasy, for the value of quarterbacks or even some of the running backs, potentially even wide receivers here. But he asked, how does Rashawn Slater's injury impact Hampton's season long value in redraft? Jeremy, you had a really good answer, so I'll let you start with this. How does that impact it?
Man, it does a little bit. Like, we have to take it, and the way that I approach this question is we have to take it, in totality of what's going on with the Chargers. Not only is Rashawn Slater out for the season, and you referenced this, SC, in your answer about Joe Alt moving over, right? It's a really nice replacement for one of the best offensive tackles in the league to just plug in another one of the best offensive tackles in the league, right? Sure. You're a little concerned about the other side of the line now a little bit, but this team is well fortified, especially in the Roman offense with Harbaugh. I mean, they have O-linemen out the wazoo, so it's not going to be a massive concern. But at the same time, when I'm thinking about, Keenan Allen coming in and Najee Harris, being out and potentially not playing week 1, week 2, week 3. We don't know yet. It really does impact every single player here that hasn't been mentioned. So when you're talking about Ladd McConkey, for example, I think he's fine. I don't find myself taking him, but I think where he goes at the back end of the second, sometimes falling into early third, I think that's good value for Ladd McConkey. If he goes any earlier, like the early second, I'm not there, but he's not going there, right? You're seeing Derrick Henry, sometimes CMC falls. You get, when you're talking about running backs, Brian Thomas Jr. is there. So Ladd McConkey isn't going in that range. He's going back end of the second, early third. I think it's fine. But when you look at the other guys, Amari Hampton for me is really the issue. I knock him down a peg, right? It's not much, but I was expecting him to be there at the 2-3 turn and a rise in his ADP. He's sneaking up into that range. In fact, in my mock yesterday, he went at the 302. It's too early for me, right? I want JSN. I want George Kittle or Trey McBride, who sometimes falls there. There's other guys that I want instead of Amari Hampton. He's just a little risky. And if you're talking about Hampton, Chase Brown, or Bucky Irving, Kyron Williams, even of those 4 backs, Hampton now is at the end of that list. And, it's sad to say, but I dock him a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, Slater's definitely an impact for the team overall. Joe Alt was their primary way they rushed in his direction as well. So I think it does import more the passing game. Spencer, you were kind of aligned with that. What are your thoughts on Rashawn Slater injury? How does that impact Hampton or the Chargers offense overall? Muted. Muted or something's wrong with the mic there, Spencer.
Unmute, sir.
There we go. I got it.
Yes.
Yeah, I actually had muted the mic, not myself. It's always something. No, so with the Chargers, I think that this hurts the Chargers offense on a whole, but I don't know that it actually hurts Hampton. I almost could see a washout where Herbert's going to feel some more pressure, but Herbert really loves the check down. We saw with Austin Eckler, he was a target monster. We saw last year, J.K. Dobbins saw more targets than he'd ever seen in his career. Herbert loves the check down. And Hampton has shown in college that he's pretty good at that. So I could see, his efficiency is going to go down. That line is going to get worse. There's no doubt about it. Slater is a stud. But I could see Herbert needed to check down. Maybe Hampton sees 10 more targets as a result. And in the end of the day, the point washout is pretty much even. So I still feel really comfortable taking him at the top of the third, mid-third, where he's going right now.
For sure. No, beautiful. I mean, do you differ from that at all, Jesse? Say Jay Moeller, my bad. Jesse?
You're good. No, it's a volume game. There is no one pushing him for competition in that backfield. So if you have a running back as talented as he is, who can do all three downs, do everything you need, he's a traditional three-down back, he's walking into potentially 300-plus touches in this offense because the rushing attempts alone last year, they had 460. So you give him 250 of the rushing attempts. Can he get 50 targets? He can get 50 targets. He can beat out J.K. Dobbins. So overall, at his range, I think the upside is actually really high. And I think the floor is higher than the true upside. He's going to get a lot of touches, probably about at least 15 starting out. He'll probably get closer to 20 as the season goes on. So I think you're getting a volume hog in that offense, and you know how much they like to use their running back. So it's all working out in his favor. I get it. The inefficiency might hurt him a little bit, but like when we're chasing volume, that's what we're chasing. So he might be not as efficient as you want, but if he's over 4 yards a carry and he's giving you 8 yards a clip in the receiving game, like when you look at the end of the day, he's going to be 250 points, maybe pushing 300 points on your team. That's RB1 numbers. So yeah, I like Hampton where he's at. I think he's a good value in drafts.
Sure.
Oh, sorry.
Go ahead.
Go ahead.
I would say, how dare we say there's no competition? We know Kamani Vidal's back there, but
You interrupted Jeremy for Kamani.
I did. Can we rank these backs though? Because they're right around each other. It's Chase Brown, it's Bucky, it's Amarian Hampton, it's Kyron Williams. Spencer, can you rank those four?
Oh, why are you asking me the tough questions? No, I mean, I think I go just off pure gut right now, not looking at anything. I go Kyron 1. I think he got that contract. He's safe. He's insulated. I think with Stafford going down, they're going to have to run through him. Then I go Hampton. Then Chase Brown.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Like that.
It's tight. I mean, do you differ there?
Was that dynasty or redraft?
That's redraft.
I was thinking redraft, yeah.
Okay, so redraft, I'm going to say Chase Brown, Kyron, Hampton, and Bucky. It's just hard to see what the offense is going to be out without Cohen. So I would say you had a high opportunity to sell Bucky, and now his value may – he's still going to be good, but his value may drop. I don't know if he kind of repeats the season he had last season. So
Jesse, what do you got?
Chase Brown's the lowest because when they gave him the most amount of touches, he became extremely inefficient. So that is the issue. They don't want him to be a 20-plus touch guy. Like, he's going to live in the efficiency range. So you kind of want him to be a pseudo Bucky. I just think he gets hit in the passing game this year. I think that's where he gets hit the most this year. So I get it, that offense is high flying, but I just worry about his volume. So he's last. Kyron's the safest, but it's so hard to put him above Bucky for me. So it's those two. Whoever falls, I'll take there. And then I have Hampton right in that range third, and then Chase Brown's clear fourth for me.
Yeah, and I think I'm going Hampton fourth of those. But like we're saying, we're splitting hairs here. But look, you got the rookie mystery box. I just think with Bucky Irving, for example, out of camp, you're hearing some things that they absolutely love Bucky. They want to give him more touches.
Yeah,
is this the case? Or is it hype? Who knows? But Bucky was awesome last year, and Rashad White lived on high efficiency. So we'll see. We'll see how it goes. But yeah, we're splitting hairs.
Another Kamani truth there in the chat. We love to see it. Shout out RNGs and some of the
Oh
leagues.
God.
No,
That-
no, great picks there. As I mentioned, we're gonna get to our mock here shortly that we got going on. But JJ, well, shout out you joined the mock. We appreciate you joining in. But he had a question for us as well. In a 12-team PPR, my wide receivers are Brian Thomas Jr., Calvin Ridley, Jameson Williams, Jalen Waddle, Cooper Kupp, Wandale Robinson. Solid. Who do I start? Who should I deal or package? Jesse, let's start with you.
So is this redraft or is this dynasty? Because this is a completely different question if it is. The guy that I really like that's not highly valued is Ridley. He's going to be a target hog in that offense, and he gets like the biggest quarterback that you're going to get of all these guys. Kupp's fine. I really like Waddle too, so Ridley and Waddle. BTJ is the most expensive, so if you want to truly move him, you can pretty much move him for any player in Dynasty. So if you want to make that big switch with him, because I'm a big Travis Hunter guy, I think he can actually impact him a little bit. I would do that, but yeah, like I'm moving Kupp. I don't want to deal with Kupp. So if you can get a late 2 for Kupp in Dynasty, see you later. It was nice knowing you, Kupp. We'll move on. And Wandale is just kind of just whatever. I don't want to do anything with Wandale. Those are just inefficient targets. They hurt my heart. It's just brutal to watch him get peppered and get 600 yards. Like no thank you.
For sure. 100%. I mean, maybe Russell Wilson or Jameis changed that, but we know Jameis again targets those wide receivers. So if he's in there, shout out Malik Neighbors. Probably have a great season. He did say it's redraft though. So Jeremy, does that kind of switch your answer from what Jesse said, or are you still along the same lines of what he said?
I do like Kupp, but the problem is in redraft, you're just not going to get anything for him or Wandale. So you got these top 4 guys. I told you how high I am on JMO and Jalen Waddle. I love those guys, but BTJ, obviously a cut above. You need to keep him. And Ridley, he's a starter, and some people are in, some people are out. I think you need to be in, but I don't think he has the value. So you got to send out JMO. I think he's the one guy with value here if you're looking to make a deal, but I want to keep JMO. So I think I'm starting more wide receivers than running backs, depending on how many flexes you have in your league.
If you can get a high-end running back, would you move BCJ for him, or would you keep him? Like one of the top 6 running backs. Would you move for one of those?
So Saquon.
I don't think you're going to get Saquon, but say like we talked about that group we just talked about, Omarion, Chase Brown, Bucky, those guys. Would you move him for any one of those guys?
I try to get a plus on top of it.
Yeah, I'd move him for those guys. Personally, I would.
Yeah. No, I want BTJ.
So my answer differs a little bit, but Spencer, I'm gonna let you go because sometimes we're on the same wavelength. So curious on your thoughts. Redraft. Who should you start and who are you dealing in the package here?
Yeah, I mean, I think because we're talking dealing in a package here, I think BTJ is the guy that I want to move because as Jesse said, I'm a little worried about Travis Hunter. They've been talking a lot of hype about him, just eating into the targets a little bit. Not a lot of it, but enough that it makes an impact as to where he's drafted. And I want to move up into that top tier of wide receivers, the safe wide receiver ones, and maybe you can package BTJ and Ridley to get into that group and, just sort of insulate your wide receiver 1 because I feel very, very confident in Jameson Williams and Jalen Waddle as your 2-3 options. So that would be what I would try to do. But SC, you said you had some thoughts. Were we in the alignment there, or did I throw you a curveball?
No, 100%. Because I think you keep Ridley for redraft. I think Ridley has high upside, especially knowing Cam Ward is the type of quarterback that airs it out. Ridley's gonna be the benefactor of that. Think about their target competition. Who they bring in? Tyler Lockett, drafted Kamari Dickey. Kamari Dickey's gonna be the replacement for Calvin Ridley, so he's not gonna affect that as well. The running backs aren't really known for their pass catching. Calvin Ridley should see some high upside. Jameson Williams, he's gonna be the guy that goes down the field most often for the Lions offense. So you definitely want to keep him in there. Waddle, let's remember, if Tua goes down again, the offense looked kind of meh last year without a quarterback. Do we believe in Quinn Ewers for Waddle to really be that? The most value you can get here, because you're not really going to get something for Kupp or Wandale. I think Brian Thomas Jr. and packaging Waddle, like Spencer was saying, moving up to get a more higher-end wide receiver, maybe try to get maybe even Puka at that point, or to Jesse's point or Jeremy's point when asking a question, one of those top-end running backs. Maybe you can't get that with PGJ there. maybe a Saquon with the Waddle. Who knows? And if you don't have those running backs, that's something to do with redraft. It makes it a little bit more clear. I'm more comfortable trading away those younger assets, especially with the team that drafted a wide receiver / DB and Travis Hunter. We know he's elusive. We know he can make some big impact. Not to mention Cohen's in there. He uses the running backs. Guess what? They brought in running backs to be in the pass catching game and based on two, and even shout out LaQuint Allen. So there may be some more target competition there for BTJ than we really want to see or admit. So that could possibly happen. So I think you have some value there as well. Shout out Jamie, man. I'm at the Expo kind of Jamie, man, if you are not following Jamie or watching this show, make sure you are. Jamie is a solid member of the FFU community. Appreciate you watching the show. For everyone that's at the Fantasy Expo, we hope y'all are having a great time. Tell FFU we are happy for y'all, looking excited to see what content y'all bring out as well. Appreciate you joining in, Jamie. Now, before we go on, great question there for us, JJ. We are going to start the mock here in a little bit. Guys, before we move forward with the mock, is there any other Reddit questions that really caught your eye that we want to see? Appreciate everyone jumping in the AMA and really talking to us. That's what we really like. Don't forget, we're here to communicate and help y'all really, navigate through your fantasy leagues as well.
I got one. It's half PPR. It's a simple question, but it's a very difficult, horrible question. The question is Ashton Jeanty or Devon Achane? Half PPR. Who you got?
Yeah, that one. I saw that one come in. I saw you answered. I was like, I'm glad you answered that because that's tough.
I've been thinking on that one since we started. I haven't answered yet, so
it's a no-brainer for me.
We saw how good Devon Achane is, right? But go ahead, Spencer, if you got an answer.
Yeah, he said no-brainer, so let's do it.
It was a no-brainer for me. This was Achane 10 out of 10 times for me. Because did you see Ashton Jeanty ran for -1 yards in his preseason?
It's a bust, right?
Yeah, pure bust. No. But no, I mean, I think you're drafting sort of at the turn there. So that's where you're getting Achane is either late first, early second. It means you're towards the end of your draft. So you need to get a guy you're not playing for fourth place. You're not playing for, that last place. Achane, when Tua was RB1 last year. He's back this year. Obviously, Tua's health is no sure thing, but I'm playing for number one. And Achane has the ability to bring me to the number one spot. Much more. I think Jeanty's going to be great. I love Jeanty. He's not a bust. Spoiler alert. At least not yet. But what we saw with Achane is even if even with Tua gone, it might be the ugliest way to 16, 20 points every single week that you've ever seen, but he still finds ways to get there with the PPR upside. So to me, he has insulated value and the high upside. Jeanty, there's risk that he is a bust. I don't want to discount that. We've seen running backs fail. I don't think he's going to be, but he just slots more like RB 5 to 10. He's a safe bet. He's a great way to get fourth place.
Yeah, that's fair. Jeremy, I'll let you go here in a bit because I know you kind of defer from that answer. With Jeanty, we know he's going to get the workload. He got the workload in college, and he was beneficial with that workload. You can argue the competition was there. You can look at the Penn State game. He got the workload, but wasn't as effective when Penn State kind of dialed in on what he was doing. Does that kind of transition to NFL? He's in a great system with Pete Carroll. They know how to run the ball. We've seen Pete Carroll in his running offenses. We know Jeanty's going to get the workload. But to Spencer's point, Achane was a solid RB. He's also a little bit smaller and does get banged up as well. Jeremy, what are your thoughts here? Because you kind of defer here going Jeanty over Achane.
I'm going to say something real stupid, but then I'm going to try to follow it up with something real smart. And the real stupid thing is the Dolphins' backfield is not just Devon Achane. It's Jalen Wright. It's Ollie Gordon. It's Alexander Madison at the moment. Those guys are not threats to volume, but they are threats to short yardage and goal line work. Devon Achane is not the guy that we're looking at the goal line. We know there's no quarterback in Tua to steal, Tua better not be, tush pushing his way into the end zone with all the concussions he has. He's not going to. But I think Achane, we've seen it. He lives off of hyper efficiency. He's not a goal line guy, so he's got to score from deep, which he does. Right. But then we're all assuming that he is the sole beneficiary from the Jonnu Smith departure. And that this is in a year last year where Jonnu Smith had 117 targets, but then Tyreek Hill had a down year. Jalen Waddle had a down year. And these guys are better than Devon Achane. And they certainly were drafted like it. And they play different positions, of course, but we've seen Waddle line up in the backfield and take some receptions there. So Mike McDaniel can do plenty of different things, and then we're just expecting Achane to live off this super high volume. Now, the Dolphins defense is atrocious. They've already lost 2 cornerbacks for this season, so their depth is horrible as well. I love that for Achane with the Jono departure, but Ashton Jeanty, I'll just take the mystery box. That offense is much improved, and I think Jeanty can get 300 touches. Achane's not going to sniff that.
To your point, he was 12th among running backs and with rushing attempts inside the 5-yard line. Like that's really the missing piece for Achane. He really needs to get into that top 5 if he wants to be RB1 because he needs those touchdowns. The touchdowns are what do it for you every time. So I think there's a little bit of uncertainty. I think the floor's higher with him, but I will say the ceiling might be a little bit higher with Jeanty if he gets the full entire workload, which we've seen Pete Carroll do this before. Like they know what they want there. So it's really like basically the floor is really high with the Achane, and I love Achane. He's one of my favorite players. Jeanty might be a little bit higher with him too. So it just depends what you're shooting for.
Shout out Jalen Wright and Ollie Gordon because I definitely think those are dynasty stashes for you. But to Jeremy's point, Alexander Madison is very sneaky to really take away those goal lines just based on the experience and really just be that annoying big brother where you're like, man, I'm not going to start you, but yeah, he consistently gets like 10, 12 points just he's getting those touchdowns in like 50 yards because he's going to be someone that just has experience as far as that. So interesting point with Alexander Madison there. Great question though overall. I think, man, I had to lean Jeanty too though as well. I know Achane has the upside, but again, to Jerry's point, the goal line takeaways maybe not there for him, and also he's a lot smaller. I don't like it, but I'm taking Jeanty there. I'd probably go a wide receiver if those weren't 2 guys there at that point there as well. Now, Jamie coming in. I'm hooked with Harold Fannon's. Okay, we're not going to put that on there for him. he's having a good time at the expo again. Shout out Jamie for joining in though.
Good stuff.
But no, we're gonna hop in. Any other questions, guys, from the AMA?
No, there's a lot of good questions. If anybody wants to, we'll post the link in the chat. So if anybody wants to check it out, let's check it out. It's a pretty good day.
Yes, sir. Again, shout out Fans Football Reddit community, for having us host AMA. We definitely appreciate it. Don't forget to follow the FFU universe on X or even subscribe to our YouTube channel. We have tons of content coming out for y'all this season, from Dynasty Dogs to Adjust Your Ranks to our Devi Planet episodes and even our Start Shit episodes on Sunday, which will be live before kickoff to answer all your questions pertaining to that week's start or sits. Now, before we get into our mock draft here, I do want to do a special thing. Don't forget Fast Draft. Use promo code FFU for 100% first-time deposit match up to $25. It's really quick and easy. You go in, you draft your team. Guys, it does not take longer than 10 and a half minutes. That's what my longest draft was. 10 and a half minutes, draft the team, put some money in it, and it's a best ball kind of tournament. You kind of get the upside from it. You can win big money from it. It's really good. Go check out Fast Draft. Use promo code FFU for all of us to make sure you're getting that first-time deposit match and go win some money, man. We want you to help y'all win, not only in the fantasy leagues, but also in these kind of formats as well. So Fast Draft, promo code FFU. Now, our mock draft is here. Jeremy, you are the mock draft master. What are we doing today for the mock draft?
Yep. So it's full PPR, but we have 2 wrinkles. Let me add it to the stage here. The first of which is, as you can see, we are 10 teams. The second of which you can see is we have 3 wide receivers. Sometimes that happens in your league. And we have 1 flex spot. So wide receiver heavy, as you might say, 10 team full PPR.
Perfect. So let's go ahead and do it. Shout out JJ Walsh. He jumped in here. We have some other guys jumping in. Big game. Jameis, I think is the name. You're on the clock there. So let's go ahead and have a good time and see what happens there. He took Jamar Chase. That's a no-brainer. Jeremy, you're going up next.
Yeah, I need to. I'm going to have to do it from here. And this one is, we got Chase. Well, then I got to go Bijan.
There you go. As we said earlier, Chase and Bijan, the 1-2 there. Sparkley going there next. CD Lamb. Oh, it's on me. That's cruising for that.
Yeah, we got 60 seconds per pick, but full PPR. CD Lamb, I love it at the 104. Malik Neighbors, Amon-Ra, probably a little bit early over Justin Jefferson, but I have seen, Gibbs still on the board, so Amon-Ra is a little early. What do you guys think about these 2 running backs and receivers here?
I mean, there's nothing wrong with any of them. Like, it's a good spot to be. Like, I think Amon-Ra, like, people are worried about him, and I don't understand why. He's just an all-around really, really good wide receiver. And, like, he's in the same tier as Jefferson. Like, I like Jefferson a lot, but you can make the case for Amon-Ra in there. I don't really hate the difference between the two. So it all makes sense to me. But, yeah, it's 2 Lions back-to-back. Like, you're set in that first round.
As Spencer's on the clock, I want to ask about Neighbors because I know he's a Justin Jefferson guy, but he's also a Giants fan. Was I too early drafting Neighbors at 5 when Justin Jefferson's still on the board?
No, I don't think you were. I think for this year they're probably in the same grouping. I've loved seeing everything out of camp. Russell Wilson can't look anywhere else. I mean, I don't know why he would, but he can't look anywhere else when he's trying to pass the ball.
Dale
I guess
Johnson,
Wandale isn't catching his eye, and it's going to be another fun year.
He's already excited. He's like, just can't wait.
That was a tough pick.
It is tough. I was almost debating CMC as well. Because it's 3 wide receiver, this is going to shift my draft because I want the elite wide receivers format. And you've already seen it right now. So I'm just going to double tap wide receiver here. I'm going to get my boy Puka and then just get the guy. If he could ever stay healthy for a full season, he could be the potential wide receiver 1. It's Nico Collins. Just stay healthy. Ice those hamstrings, my friend. We don't want any more injury.
I was hoping one of those two would find their way back to me.
I mean, you got
now you go to RB.
So now I'm gonna prove my point here.
There you go. Love it.
Love it.
Ooh, Henry.
JJ here says it's a tough one, Jefferson or Gibbs for him. What are we thinking between those two, given the format with the 3 wide receivers? Who do you prefer?
I think for me, JJ, JJ's the guy. I guess the worry for me is, can JJM really do it for him? I'm not mad at Gibbs. I understand the concept on there. We know Gibbs could be effective in the passing game as well. But because of the format with 3 wide receivers, I'd probably lean Justin Jefferson, but I understand taking Gibbs there as well. I'm trying to see.
Yeah, no, as the resident Jefferson guy, I'd lean him as well. Just to me, it's that format. But I think that this top 8 really could go in any order.
Mm-hmm.
I think Saquon at 3 is a fine pick, but he's one that worries me a lot this year with how many touches he had last year and his injury history. I mean, even going back to his days at Penn State, he's always had nagging issues. Last year's the anomaly, not the rule. So when you add that in, I'm a little worried about him that early. Him and Gibbs is like a toss-up to me. So I think it's great value to get Gibbs at 7.
It's not tight end premium, right?
It is not.
Okay, so I made the good pick. I made the right pick. I was like, I should have taken McBride, but I was pretty sure it wasn't.
But speaking of, I am going to take Trey McBride, despite it not being tight end premium. We're a 10 team, so I think we're going to see Kittle probably fall to the 4th. Maybe not now, since we have the 2 tight ends off the board slightly earlier, maybe than usual. But after Kittle, I don't want to touch anyone until the 9th round. And at that point, if I don't have a tight end, I'm looking at guys like Kyle Pitts, guys that I hope are going to produce. And Njoku, right? Kelsey is going in 10 team. Kelsey's going in the 8th round. You got Mark Andrews, got Evan Ingram. I like those guys. But I think we're just kind of hoping that Mark Andrews sees more volume than he did last year, and that last year we can chalk it up to injury. We're hoping that. We're hoping that Evan Ingram gels immediately in his new team and hoping he gets the Joker role. We're hoping Kelsey is fully healthy. We're hoping Njoku gets good quarterback play and peppered with targets again. I don't want to hope at tight end. I want one of those top 3 guys.
Yeah, agreed. You want those guys, you want to punt it because in 10 teams, one of them is going to fall. You're going to need a really good tight end falling, so you don't need to force it after this.
Yep.
Ooh, spicy.
JSN going to Seattle. Man, JSN when you have Torrey Horton in the 13th. Come on, man.
Dude, Jesse, maybe you can talk to us about JSN because I keep, talk about camp hype. This is another one of these guys who's just getting all kinds of hype. They're moving him all over the place, but not only is he moving all over the place, they're targeting him from every area of the field. It's really just JSN and nobody else in this passing game at the moment, right?
Yeah, I mean, Cooper Kupp's coming in to free up JSN. That's more or less what they're doing, right? They're going to focus the offense around him. They've talked about it a bunch. So I get people seem to be worried about him for whatever reason. I think it's maybe because Sam Darnold's coming in. Newsflash, he's not as good as a quarterback as Geno Smith. I will die on that hill.
Yeah, 100%.
But so we'll see how it goes. If they can keep Darnold upright and he doesn't get pressure up the middle, JSN's going to see minimum 130 targets. More likely, he'll probably be in the 150 range. And if he's going to get 150 targets from this offense, like he's going to be a mid-range wide receiver one. So I think at that price, like you can't go wrong with JSN there.
Our first quarterback off the board is Josh Allen at 3.6. Is that something that's crazy to you, or is that good value? Jeremy, you're the mock expert here. Is that where you're seeing him in these single QBs?
Yeah, I mean, value is good. It's crazy to me, and I know that's our one auto-drafted team because the guy left the seconds before we started up. But it's crazy to me to pick an early tight end and an early quarterback regardless of format this year. I just think there's value early and value late. You have to choose quarterback or tight end, and then you have to, by round 3, take one of those if you want an early one, and then push the other position all the way down to damn near the double-digit rounds. I don't want Bo Nix unless he's touching the 10th, which he usually isn't. I don't want Dak, same thing, unless he's touching the 10th, which he usually isn't. I'll take a shot maybe in the 7th or 8th at Justin Fields because he's falling that far. But when you guys have guys that we talked about already, Drake May, JJ McCarthy, Caleb Williams, that are available in the 12th, I mean, for me, I like early tight end, but pick your poison there. Just don't take both.
Yeah, like this is why I took the 2 wide receivers early, because I'm looking at this wide receivers. These are all guys with question marks. McLaurin's doing the holdout stuff. Garrett Wilson just has a terrible situation around him. Mike Evans, you know what he is. It's just he's aging, so he could fall off at this point. So that's why I took the 2 wide receivers there, because there's a ton of running backs. I could take any of them there. Like, heck, I can go Hampton here and just be happy with it. I'll just take him for fun. Yeah. And then speaking of quarterbacks, since I like these guys a little bit more than tight ends, I always do this, and I'm probably going to regret this, but I'm going to take Jane Daniels here. We'll see how it goes.
Love it.
Yeah,
not bad.
I'll go with my onesie here, and I'll do Kittle.
I almost
I wanted to go with a onesie, having smashed the running back, zig while everyone else is zagging. But yeah, I mean the 2 running back start is tough.
I think Kittle's tight end 1 this season. I think Kittle's the always standing thing in the offense. I think he's going to be the most reliable. I think Brock Purdy and him are going to connect heavily. I think he's the tight end 1 this season. That's say with Brower's and McBride still doing good things. I think Kittle's going to really see an uptick in everything this season.
I agree. I think he should be with those guys. I don't think there should be a 2-round gap between them. That seems excessive. Like, I think he should be. He was tight end 1 last year. Like it should be.
And there always is that 2-round gap. It always exists in every single mock, and it hasn't changed. So, yes, Trey McBride, but I know that I'm not getting George Kittle in my position unless I pick him at the 302. Feels a little bit early given who's on the board for me. So I want Trey McBride because he only scored 2 touchdowns last season. We have to assume that regresses more to a mean of like 6 or 7, which was like his expected. I think it was 8. His expected TD output just with the amount of volume that he received last year.
Dominant if it does. I mean, just move it up to 5 is great. Like 3 more, it's like that's an extra 21, 24 points for him. So that's phenomenal. I'm about to make this pick here. Am I crazy for like being in awe that Breece Hall dropped to me this late? I mean, why are we like sliding Breece Hall down the ranks here? He's still RB1 of the offense. The offense is going to run the ball heavily there. I think that was an easy pick for me at Breece Hall.
I think you know why. It's because Justin Fields is going to snatch a lot of those receptions out. Like, he's going to rush it 150 times probably in that offensive fleece. So that's what worries him about Breece Hall. He's an awesome player. Like, I think he is falling a little bit too much, but there's risk just based on that. I think it's the Justin Fields problem. It is what it is.
Yeah.
Fair.
Yeah.
I just learned at a young age not to go back to X's that break my heart. That's Breece Hall.
Fair.
Crap.
Right.
I like some of the running backs here. I'm gonna do something I never do, and I hate this, but I'm gonna do this. Actually, no. I shouldn't have done that. That was terrible. Hasn't been suspended. Will be suspended. No, that was terrible. Let's pretend that's McLaurin, and we'll just move on.
It's fine. Yeah.
So what are we thinking for Rashee Rice? Let's talk about it since I fucked up. Spencer, you're our guy, right? Are we thinking probably 4 to 5 games for Rashee Rice?
Yeah, I would guess the 4 to 6 range. I mean, I think that the thing that really stands out with the Rashee Rice situation is, I mean, it's all wrapped up from a criminal aspect, from the civil aspect. Everything is done and taken care of. He's going to be serving his time on weekends instead of, going out and having fun with friends, and he'll take care of that easily. But the suspension side, it's hard to tell with these vehicular things. We even look, because his didn't have alcohol involved, and that's a big thing with the Addison case that separates and makes them hard to compare. Because on face, you want to say Rice was worse, right? His conduct was worse. He ran away from a scene. His felony, the felony charge was a much higher charge than what Addison was seeing. But from an NFL conduct standpoint, remarkably similar in terms of their employee handbook. And because of that, I mean, honestly, I wouldn't be surprised if they get the same penalty. But 4 to 6 feels right to me, with 5 being that nice happy median number. And they will wrap this up before the season. I have no doubt about that.
I will say, as people sleep on Rasheed Rice, like with suspensions, redraft, I kind of get it, but at the same time, if it's probably not going to be a full season suspension, which we don't know, so I get it. But with Rasheed Rice, it probably won't be. Might end up being a league winner because he's a wide receiver 1 for Mahomes when he's on the field as well. So taking him might end up saving you if the value's there and what you're doing later rounds, because he can end up coming in and next thing you have a 20, 25 point wide receiver per week that just takes you to the playoffs and beyond.
Yeah, and that's kind of why I took him before I forgot that he's definitely going to get suspended any day now. But I think what I would have preferred to do here is take James Cook, Kenneth Walker instead of Rashee Rice, load up on running back, because I really like the value of wide receiver that should come back, especially in 10-team. In a 12-team draft, I'm absolutely taking at the 5-2, I'm going to sit and take the wide receiver of my choice. But coming back at the 6-7 turn in a 10-team, I'm probably going to double up on wide receiver here unless a running back falls.
Yeah. You can look at the running backs I'm looking at right now, and it's just I get it with James Conner. I do wonder how high his ceiling, and Mixon's deal with an injury. Montgomery, when he came back, was nowhere near the same player. They shifted that offense when he came back from the injury, and it was the Jahmyr Gibbs offense. So I think there's a little bit more risk with Monty. Pacheco, he's come back from injury. We don't know. RJ Harvey. These are the 2 rookies. I've always had Henderson higher. I think he's a better player. So if I'm going running back, I'm going to go Henderson. But since we've been talking about this wide receiver for so much, he just went in front of me, son of a bitch. I was going to take him. That's just
well done, Spencer. Well done.
All right. I'll take Henderson here. I'll take Henderson as my RB2, and then we're just going to grab whatever wide receiver I want here and go Worthy, Flowers. It's really pick your choice. I think DJ Moore is getting a little too hated on because I think people are hyping up Birdie for too much.
Yeah.
I can't talk. Excuse me.
Agree. You taking DJ Moore?
Yeah, I think DJ Moore's really safe. I like all of these guys within the same tier. Really, the Tet's kind of the end of it. And then there's just Travis Hunter. And I kind of just want to take Travis Hunter because he's my guy. I know he's not going to come back. So I wouldn't normally take him here, but we're going to take him for the vibes.
It's a good pick.
Yeah.
Go with the wives.
I would have taken – I was debating Henderson. So we were right in lockstep there. I was hoping he'd come back around. Should have known better.
Right. I was thinking Henderson over Kenneth. I should have taken him.
I'm going to hijack the show right now. We're going to talk Jameson Williams for 5 minutes because this is what I do in every mock draft show. We just have to take a look at Jameson Williams and what he's doing on a per-game basis. I mean, you see this from last season. Of course, Ben Johnson was his, OC. But you see he has these spikes weeks followed by weeks that he completely disappears. This is who he is. He's a boom-bust guy. But for me, and it didn't really necessarily equate last year, I think it's going to equate 1-for-1 almost this year. He's Deshaun Jackson. All right. I mean, this is one of the most explosive guys in the league. He can absolutely win you weeks. But if you look at his overall volume, which is tough because we prefer a points per game that's a little bit more consistent, but he only had 58 receptions last year, finishes the PPR wide receiver 22, 7 touchdowns. I think that can go up. He did get one on the ground. But he's Mr. Necessary, and he got 91 targets. Let's assume that he gets some targets a little bit closer to the line. We know he's going to be running goes for days, but that target volume can go up as well. I just think Jameson Williams is an absolute stud, and he's going to dominate. Only 15 games, by the way, and he was a wide receiver too. I think, as Spencer alluded to earlier, and Spencer picked him here at the end of the 5th, that's excellent value for him. Even in a 10-man, I think there's room for him to grow, and he could absolutely be a wide receiver 1. So Jameson Williams, priority pick for me in the 5th round.
Yeah, he had an 18% target share last year. If he gets that to 23, like if those targets increase, that's how that floor raises and the ceiling goes up. So yeah, if you think he can take a step forward in that range of the draft, there's no problem taking him there. I think there's high upside with it.
Good pick with Jameson Williams there. Well, it'll be interesting to see, because there is a realm where he kind of outproduces Amon-Ra, just based on the yards he gets through the air, So Amon-Ra's obviously a stud, a great slot merchant for them that can move around the field for them as well. But with the new regime, it could possibly mean something different for him as well. So,
yeah. And of note, this is his first clean offseason. He came in the first year off that ACL, came in the second year, I believe it was conduct issues that he was dealing with. Last year he was hurt in the preseason coming into the year. This is his first year that he's had a full, healthy offseason. Knock on wood, we're not in the clear yet, but so far so good. It's the first time ever as a pro that he's had that.
And I think he's probably the most explosive player in the NFL. There's a lot of athletic freaks. You can pick your flavor, but he's absolutely stealthy. He's not the most refined route runner. They're working on that this offseason. He's not, the highest jumper. He's not the fastest guy, but all around, he's super explosive. I'm going to take another undervalued guy, the guy that I've been talking about at the 6'9", Jalen Waddle, as my wide receiver. Well, 2, because Rashi might not play. But Jalen Waddle, very happy with him. I think he bounces back, and like we talked about, that Dolphins D is terrible.
Rashawn, they're saying he's wide receiver 1, like coming out of there's been hype about that. So I think he overtakes Tyreek this year and is their wide receiver 1. Yeah. So round 6, that's smash. Yeah, but this tier of wide receivers is good.
No, I want to talk about the gap between Tyreek Hill in the 3rd and Jalen Waddle here in the late 6th.
Talk about it.
I feel like Tyreek Hill, the drumbeat has been all negative this offseason, and he's approaching that aging curve. And Jalen Waddle, I know he had a down last year, but it was pretty similar to Tyreek Hill's down year. Do you guys think that the gap between the 3rd for Hill and the 6th for Waddle is reasonable? Do you think that's they should be closer?
I think they should be closer because look at the players Tyreek Hill's going against. Like I understand why people are taking him there, but I would much rather take the bet on Jalen Waddle in that range than bet on Tyreek in that range because there's all downside for Tyreek unless you expect him to be a high-end wide receiver 1 again. So I would just go Waddle.
And what injury is he dealing with right now?
What is it?
Hill?
Ego?
Yeah.
He just got hurt too. What is it?
He's got something. He's out, right? So he's not playing. His teammates hate him. Tua came out and said some crap. He was talking crap about Achane, right? And that's a little overblown for sure. But at the same time, Tua made some really pointed comments, and he referenced the fact that Tyreek Hill basically walked out on the team last year. Mike McDaniel said similar things. And, is he fully healthy? Is he falling off? We don't know what's going on, and we're still taking him in the 3rd round. No, he's risky. So I agree with you.
It's an oblique injury for Tyreek. That doesn't sound fun.
No, which my limited knowledge just from me having various sports injuries throughout my career, oblique is big for explosiveness. And that's your twisting, your turning. It's basically an abdominal injury that he's dealing with. So for the type of player Tyreek is, I mean, you hope it's minor, but you see it a lot in baseball with the heavy twisting. So obviously I'm no Ben on the PT side there, but it's not a fun one.
So with y'all thinking it should be closer in these, especially as you navigate through your pick here. So let's go through it then. Tyreek with 307. Then you have T. Higgins 309. You're taking Higgins over Waddle, correct?
Yeah.
Over Hill. Yeah. Over Hill. You're taking Higgins over Hill too and Waddle, both of them? Yep. Okay. Garrett Wilson, taking Wilson over both of them?
It's tricky.
I guess, but I don't feel great about Garrett Wilson either.
Well, yeah, look at the running backs in this range. This is why it isn't a 1-for-1. I think I'm going running back in this range here after JSN personally, because we got Marvin Harrison, who I'm not completely sold on. I am as a talent. My issue is a Kyler issue. Sure. And, are they going to be able to gel? Is McBride going to get more touchdowns? Who knows? But Marvin is too high for me. Then Hill is too high. And I like Higgins. He's probably the only guy in that range I like because Rashi is now suspended. So look at all the running backs. You get George Kittle. You get your choice of quarterback. No, I'm not taking wide receivers in that range at all.
Yeah.
So-
I think next much safer.
We're probably pushing Tyreek Hill down further and just moving Jalen Waddle up is where we're coming at. That Hill just went a little too early compared to people that could have went in that realm where he got drafted, correct?
For sure.
That's where I'm at with it too.
Okay. So I take Waddle over Sutton, I think. Sutton's Cortland, so I know he got the extension, but man, y'all know I'm a Troy Franklin guy. You have Marvin Mims there. You have a pass catcher running back in RJ Harvey there now as well. They brought in Evan Ingram. Sutton is great. He's an underrated wide receiver, but honestly, why take Cortland Sutton when I could take Jacoby Myers way later as well? Is my kind of thought on that, you know. So.
Yeah. This might be a really risky pick, but I'm gonna take RJ Harvey here. Like I'm just gonna dive into the potential upside. I know there's serious downside with that pick right there, but I'm gonna live with it, Nathan, see how it goes. Because I did not like that spot of the draft. I was like, oof, this is a lot of guys with question marks. So take a shot, Harvey, see how it works.
Yeah. No, that's right there in lockstep. That's why I reached for Emeka. So it's like I don't like any of the names that are going here, so I might as well go for one I do like.
100%.
And yeah, Emeka Egbuka, I think that's someone we need to talk about. Spencer, that's higher than usual. Like you said, you reach for him at the same time. Chris Godwin is going far too early in drafts. He hasn't gone yet in this one, but we don't know what his status is when he's going to return. Earlier in the offseason reports where he was going to miss half the season. I don't think they're projecting that now. They're optimistic for week 1, but it's unlikely. He's probably going to start in the PUP, and PUP is 4 to 6 weeks, right?
Well, he's had 2 offseason surgeries, right? Like it's not just the one, it's the 2 he's had. So it's like,
Correct.
It's a serious problem. And he's one of the toughest wide receivers there is. He's come back. He had a monster year coming back from the significant injury years ago, but man, age plus injuries like that, it's a scary pick.
So we have a comment in the draft. We have our guy Jay Beeble saying his team is completely screwed in week 9 because of bye weeks. When we're doing these redrafts, are you paying attention to the bye weeks, or are you looking and not really concerned because you can make adjustments, or does it affect you differently in dynasties as well when it comes to the bye weeks? I think more so redraft, but at the same time, you can trade away or get some depth. But I mean, it is when I look at the bye weeks in these, I'm just like, all right, I know I'm losing this week, so I know I'm losing 1 game. It's how I look at it if I'm getting some studs.
Yeah, you can do that in redraft. Like people will do that a lot with best ball. Right? They'll pick a week and they'll just avoid it, right? And then you win the rest of the weeks. But definitely strategy. Ooh, Ricky, nice. Flag it.
Yeah, I'm definitely not worrying about bye weeks. I'll worry about that on the waiver wire. I mean, what's the first bye week? Week 4, week 5? You got a month until you need to worry about that. I get it. If you're picking 2 players at the same position, which I'm about to do, spoiler alert, if Jamie hears me, if you pick 2 players at the same position, I understand you probably want them to have different bye weeks, but a lot can happen, right? Trey McBride, his bye week is week 8? So I don't really care what Mark Andrews or Evan Ingram's bye week is. I have Evan Ingram as my tight end 4, Mark Andrews as my tight end 5 on the season. So I'm going to go Ingram here. I love the value. There goes Andrews right away. But you see kind of what I'm talking about here about either waiting on tight end because of where Kelsey, Ingram, and Andrews go, or you can even wait earlier because there's a guy who, someone's going to take in the next few rounds who just went off in a preseason game, who's getting all the hype and is probably the number 1 target on his team, who someone's going to take here in a little bit, and Tyler Warren. So, there's value here on the board at tight end. And this is the range. If I didn't have Trey McBride, I would want to grab one of these guys, the guy of my choice. But I do have Trey McBride. I grabbed him anyway.
Yeah, there goes Warren. I was hoping you wouldn't talk about it.
Sorry.
So as we're drafted, as Buck is here, we do have an interesting question here from Ryan Santoro. Thanks for joining in. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. We appreciate all the support here. But kind of a wild one. He's laughing at this. Would you send Josh Allen, Olave, Travis Etienne, I'm assuming not Trevor, a 2027 first for Puka, Amon-Ra, Kyron, and Achane, 10-team Dynasty Superflex? Other quarterbacks are Dak, Goff, Russ, Penix, and Tyler Shuck. Spencer, 2027 first. Are you doing this with being a Debbie guy here?
I'm not doing this at all. And honestly, the reason why is that Josh Allen and you're sending your first.
Right.
Olave and Etienne are kind of whatever. Obviously, adding Puka, Amon, Kyron, and Achane. I mean, you're adding great value in theory, but you can't replace Josh Allen. I'd much rather send, Phoenix away and
Yes.
your first to get one of those players and build up your core that way. You can't replace a guy like Josh Allen, and I love the 2027 firsts. Even if we assume this is a late one, that first round is going to be big. We had a question in the Reddit channel, and I think SC and I were in lockstep there with the 26 quarterbacks are better, the 26 running backs are a little deeper, maybe not better, we'll see. But those wide receivers are going to be gold in that first round. I mean, there's just so many of them that even if half of them bust out this year, you still have a great player at the end of that round. So that's where I walk. I don't know if anyone else has a different opinion on that, though.
Well, my only different opinion is Arch Manning is staying in college until he dies, apparently, according to his grandfather. So he's not coming out next year. But no, I think that's kind of where I lean to. The thing is we don't really know running backs multiple years out, but we can assume that the running back class is going to be decent with kind of what we know. And we're all already saying that 26 is meh, right? So I think we just have like a little bit of like, ooh, we're looking at all these freshmen who balled out last year, and we're like, oh, this 27 draft is going to be fantastic. And at the same time, it's only because the 26 draft is a little underwhelming. The 25 draft, we were heavy running back, so it was a little underwhelming. And so we'll have had 2 years of underwhelming draft classes, and now we're like praying to the fantasy gods that 27 is great. It should be, but at the same time, I want to win in the next 2 years.
Yeah, like with the running backs, a couple years out, it always changes. There's a guy who pops. Like 2 years before, Jeanty was basically a no-name, and then he became the RB1 in his class. So, like, with running backs specifically in Devi, like, there's a ton of risk, and guys will come out of nowhere and be like, you've seen it every year. So I'm with you. I think it's going to change, but it's really good early. It's just if you get a late first, you're going to probably be a little bit disappointed, but it's worth a shot.
Yeah, I agree with that as well. I mean, if you're looking at Amon-Ra and Puka, if I'm thinking right now as far as Dynasty Devi mixed together, if I'm looking at the 2027 class alone, I have guaranteed I have 4 wide receivers possibly over them right now. 5 maybe if Wesco comes out and does a good thing at Clemson again. The catcher is the 21st and Allen, like Spencer alluded to as well. Penix has had injuries in the past as well, so Penix might be the one that you want to try to get because there is upside there being the younger quarterback. But also trade away Dak. Dak has good value as well. Why are you trading away the QB1 and a 2027 first? Even if it's a late 2027 first, why doing that? When you're getting Puka, who now has Devontae Adams working with him. You have Amon-Ra, who has kind of a new regime there, but also we were talking about the emergence of Jameson Williams. You have Kyron Irving, but guess what? Jarquez Hunter is a good running back. So is Blake Corum. Yes, they gave him an extension, but they have backups there too. And Achane, we mentioned there as well. He may not be getting the touches in the end zone, so that can affect his fantasy upside there as well. I think you're giving away more than what you're necessarily getting, considering Josh Allen is there. Again, 10 team, probably a little bit deeper in it. There would need to be more context as far as, what your team looks like. So if you need the wide receivers, running backs, okay, I understand. But you're giving away Josh Allen and the first. That's a little hefty there.
SC, you're up here. I'm going to pause the draft.
Yeah.
I'll resume it. You'll have like 2 seconds to pick. The one thing I want to say here, let me know when you're ready. The one thing I want to say here is like, if you look at the team, what you're getting back, they're all, top tier players, right? So the value is good. The problem is
Go when you're ready.
all right, ready? 3, 2, 1, go. The problem is you got Puka and Kyron on the same team, on a team where Matthew Stafford is up in the air. It may be the beginning of the end for him. At the same time, you're giving away Olave, who is a great receiver. He just is in a bad situation. So at some point, he's going to Terry McLaurin you, if the Saints ever figure it out, and give you a season or 2 or 3, hopefully before he's Terry McLaurin's age, where he's able to kind of bust out. So if you're pushing things down the line, it doesn't seem like you're winning now at the moment. I can understand that, but you're also in a 10 team, right? Quarterbacks matter less, but it also means quarterbacks at the top matter more. So I don't want to get rid of Josh Allen, especially with those other quarterbacks, Dak, Goff, Russ, Penix, Shook. No, keep Josh Allen.
It falls off. If you get rid of Allen and you just go with like Goff and Dak, like they're fine, but like in 10 teams, to your point, that QB room is just kind of irreplaceable. So you're taking a big hit, and I get it, you're getting the skill players, but in 2 years, like Kyron and Achane's value is not going to be near what it is right now. So there's also that aspect
Fair.
too. So be careful.
Learn when to sell them. JJ, to your question, he asked, are we going to recap the mock, go over the teams? Yeah, we'll talk about our favorite and least favorite and some value picks after the mock. Speaking of quarterbacks that are just gross, Drake May.
Yeah,
I just say that because he's North Carolina. He's a good quarterback. Yeah, if you're drafting him, he's good. He's good. But yeah, I'm just
just a bit.
That value, though. I mean,
Yeah, that's
Drake
what I'm
May
saying.
says,
That's really good value.
yeah, Drake May says he's going to run less in a Josh McDaniels offense, but now he's in a Josh McDaniels offense, right? Travion Henderson, handpicked for that James White role. So we love Travion Henderson. Drake May is going to be a beneficiary of that as well. You got one of the better wide receivers in the last decade now on your team, albeit a little aged and coming off injury and Diggs, but still looks good. Hunter Henry, solid. Kyle Williams looking good. The rest of this team is solid. Pop Douglas in the Edelman role. So it's just all lining up for Drake May to be able to throw at least 25 touchdowns, to be able to run around 400 or 500 yards. I think he had over 600 last year. I think in the 12th round, he's a smash. And Justin Herbert's so late, ridiculous. But I like Drake May there.
Yeah, the QB values are crazy right now.
Yeah.
I think the value pick of the draft and Dylan Sampson there.
Yeah, I was just going to talk about that. So go ahead, Spencer. What are your thoughts on that pick?
No, I'll let you talk about your pick, man. Talk to us about Dylan Sampson there late.
We know the Quinton situation is still eerie on how to navigate, right? Is he going to be on the commissioner exempt list? Is he going to be multiple game suspension? We don't know. If Quinton Junkins, plays, I think he has potential to be an RB1. It's a solid offense to be a part of, and he is that workhorse type of back. Dylan Sampson is very elusive. He can catch the ball at the backfield. He was one of the leaders in Tennessee at his university in just rushing last year. He showed off his skills. In my eyes, Jerome Ford obviously has the experience. Jerome Ford is someone that if he's healthy, he's going to get it. Dylan Sampson is a great late round dart throw because if he gets those reins as the RB1 for that team, he could easily just flourish in that system. And now you have a late value RB that ends up being one of the top RBs of the class simply because injury, outside forces happening with Quinton Junkins. He ends up being a very good value pick. So I think it was worth taking the dart throw there.
No arguments there. And I think Dylan Sampson, for me, he was one of my higher rated running backs. I think he ended up RB7 on the season. Really good inside runner. But apparently the Browns think he can catch the ball a lot more than he did in college because they were saying before the Judkins stuff, they're lining him up a wide receiver crazy. I think they just want him on the field. So, yeah, Sampson late. Love it.
It's good. He's a good player.
Kyle Williams is a sleeper as well.
I mean, everybody who's been paying attention to anything knows that I don't even think he's a sleeper anymore. Like, everyone knows Kyle Williams, like, potentially could be the wide receiver one in New England. So I'm surprised he's still available, to tell you the truth.
Right.
I'm actually kind of concerned about Kyle Williams for this season. I think longer term he's good, but I don't want to draft Kyle Williams this season because Steph Diggs is there. Let's assume health. Hunter Henry really had the rapport with Drake May last year, but Travion Henderson is the guy. Right, he's the guy who's handpicked for this role. He's going to get a ton of targets out of the backfield. They're going to line him up all over the place. And then, of course, you have Pop Douglas, right, who's already talked about his dark chocolate as opposed to the normal Patriots white chocolate in those option routes. So I really think Kyle Williams is going to get his chance. At the same time, I think he's going to be inconsistent, and he's someone that I do not want to bet on. I would prefer, again, redraft Keon Coleman, taking a shot on Brandon Ayuk over Kyle Williams because I just don't think he gets the volume we want for him this year. Next year, 2 years, absolutely.
Yeah, I think the underrated part about Kyle Williams' game is he's a good downfield wide receiver, and no one really seems to talk about that. And the Patriots need one of those guys. I think he could fit into that role where Steph Diggs works early, underneath him does that. Let Kyle Williams play downfield in year one and see how it works and move up from there. So, yeah, I think year two is the year he kind of takes a step forward.
So As we finish up and get closer to wrapping up the show, though, as we did tell JJ, we are going to talk about our favorite teams, our value picks, and our least favorite. Jeremy, let's start with you. Who is your favorite team looking at the draft board right now?
Obviously, it's my team, and my pick of Rashee Rice in the 4th round, just
There you go.
immaculate. I'm going to look at JJ's team because we talked a lot of crap about Tyreek, but let's ignore him for the second. Just look at everybody else, and or pretend that Tyreek is Tyreek Hill still for another season. You got Jahmyr Gibbs, Ashton Jeanty, and Kyron Williams. That's an absolutely studly running back room. We have one flex, so those guys, assuming health, are playing every single week. And then, let's take Tyreek Hill out of it for a second. You got Tet McMillan, who's a rookie who's going to be peppered with targets. You got Calvin Ridley, who we talked about earlier on the show, being the clear number 1 in Tennessee for the 101 QB of this year's draft class. And then between Deebo Samuel, Matthew Golden, Brandon Ayuk, you got a lot of guys who could step into that role as wide receiver 3. But also Tyreek Hill could step into that role as wide receiver 3. And if Tyreek Hill can do it, this team is awesome. Joe Burrow probably going to throw 50 touchdowns. We keep discounting him, but it's probably going to happen. And then Tyler Warren late. I really love this team. I'm going to say JJ nailed it.
So, Jesse, you agree with JJ as the favorite team looking at this draft?
Yeah, I really like his team. I also like Damon Daddy's team. Like, that's a really good, well put together draft because you get Baker late, and I love Baker this year. I think he's going to be fantastic once again. You got the old running backs, so that is the issue, but like you got the stud wide receivers. If Laporta can just be a mid-level tight end 1, which he should be, the rest of it's going to take care of itself. So I think that team has a high floor, and it could be a gym.
Yeah, Spencer, favorite team.
This isn't homerism here, but I really like what you did here at the top of the draft. I feel like you got good values all the way through. Malik Neighbors, A.J. Brown, and Marvin Harrison is just elite 3 to start off with. But you didn't really necessarily sacrifice at the onesie positions, getting Travis Kelce and Kyler Murray, who, a Travis Kelce with Rashee Rice out, I think is going to start the year just hot as all heck. People are going to think he's back, and then you can trade him. And then Rashee Rice comes back, and then all of a sudden Travis Kelce wasn't back. But the running back core, you didn't really sacrifice much there either because, Brees, Kenneth Walker, Caleb Johnson, Aaron Jones. I mean, there's question marks, I think, about all of these guys. But you have 4 of this grouping. I think that probably one of them fails, 2 of them are okay, and 1 of them is elite. So you built yourself a good running back room there. Just on probability, and then you got good depth throughout, good upside later in the draft. You got Kyle Pitts to replace Kelce when Rice comes back to be tight end 1. He's been calling my name since 110 there or 109. So, I just think you built a really good, well-rounded team here in a way that I don't want to call it the conventional way to build it, but I think it worked out well where you're strong at every position and you have an elite wide receiver room in the 3 wide receiver build.
Thanks, man. I appreciate that. Because I say the team right before me just dominated too, though, as well. I think Jesse had said Damon. I mean, CD, Brian Thomas, 2 elite guys. Josh Jacobs and Kamara slept on. They're the guys there, though. Kamara even more. Maybe the system's a little bit different, but Tyler sucked. We really think he's going to be throwing the ball like that. Kamara's going to get his. Devontae Adams, when they brought in him, Sean McVay was excited. He was like, look at what Adams does on these routes. I know y'all saw that video where he's like, look at Adams. And Adams just there smiling. But he's like, this is what we need on the team, guys. This is the type of wide receiver that's just going to do great. So I think that's really going to flourish there for him. Laporta, great tight end there as well. Joe Mixon, Addison, we know they might be out. Well, Mixon possibly, and then Addison as well. But guess what? Again, in redraft, they could be the guys that come in later and help you win the leagues because of some just dominance that they bring to the team. Baker Mayfield, solid, especially with Justin Herbert as your backup. Tyrone Tracy, look good. I know Cam Scadaboo's there as well, but Tyrone Tracy and Cam Scadaboo's faster, but they're really not that big of a difference. Scadaboo has a little bit more ick to his passing game, a little bit more oomph to it, so I get it. But then also Najee Harris as well. Hampton's the guy, but guess what? Najee Harris is also a workhorse back. Even if he only has one eye, you only need one eye to see, so he can still see. What I mean? He's still good there as well. So I do like Damon's pick there. But as we talk about the best, Jeremy, let's start with you. Who is the team that you're looking at as the last team?
Jamie.
101.
Jamie is drunk, but he also drafted a team No, I'm not gonna hate on Jamie real quick. So I'm just giving him some crap. But let's see. Let's do the easy thing and talk about the auto drafted team because that's the easy one. Amon-Ra at the 106. There's no way I'm taking Amon-Ra at the 106. I think at a 10 team, he's flirting with the 201, 202 for me. I want Achane over him. I'll consider Nico over him and Puka. Amon-Ra for me, no way at the 106. Brock Bowers at the 2-5, yes. Josh Allen, like we talked about, do not take it. It's important to highlight this. Do not take two of the onesie positions early in your draft because it handcuffs you. Take a look at it. Chase Brown, but then DK Metcalf, DJ Moore, Jerry Judy. I mean, some of these guys are values as well, but they're also going to disappear week to week. We don't know exactly what to expect. And then you're really looking at Brown, Pacheco, Javonte Williams. That's your running back room. It's scary. And then, of course, Khalil Shakir injured. And then taking Jared Goff when you have Josh Allen, there's no need for that. So that was a bit of a cop-out. I'll look for another one so I don't have to cop out while somebody else goes.
Jesse, I mean, to be honest, though, I look at the board, too. That probably is the worst one just based on what they have. No RB depth. Their wide receivers are good, but we also know the systems they're in probably not going to be as dominant as they have in the years past. DK Metcalf going from a system that knew how to pass the ball to a system that's going to run the ball. DJ Moore, they added hella competition all around on the offense to just give Caleb Williams something to throw at, so he actually has some options there. Jerry Judy, we talk about what's the quarterback situation going to be like? Are they going to target him? I feel people really hype up Jerry Judy after he had one game over 230 yards. And guess what? Take away that game, he's a wide receiver 30-40. Like, he's not, so that's a big part in there as well. Khalil Shakir, I love Jacoby Myers at value, but as much as the auto draft is a cop-out, I also see that as, possibly the worst team. Jesse, do you agree or do you see someone else?
Yeah, I mean, I'm still in dynasty mode because you see how many rookies I just peppered the draft with, and it's usually not a great time to do that redraft. So I got Omar in, I got Travion, I got Travis Hunter, I got RJ Harvey. Yeah, there was part of that was vibes, but yeah, like if I'm being honest, like my team, I'm not too happy with my team. So looking back at it, what I gave up taking Jaden Daniels, and to Jeremy's point, when you take these onesie positions particularly early, it's what you're giving up. Like that's the cost you're paying, right? So I could have had any one of these running backs or one of these wide receivers here, and I could have like fixed my roster a little bit. And then I get like Baker later or Kyler later, and that's just how it is. So you kind of have to justify it. So overall, like I don't think my team is the best. I will say that. So I will hate on my team a little bit just because looking at it, it's kind of like a lot of risk there.
So
let's talk about that. Let's talk about that point really quick, though. Again, just to hammer that home, is like, Jesse, if you take George Kittle, right, instead of Jaden Daniels, then you don't have to worry about Njoku, who could be fine, but we don't know the QB situation. You don't have to worry about Kincaid coming through. You have Kittle solidified, and then around this range, maybe you're taking Drake May instead of Dalton Kincaid, and instead of Njoku, maybe you're getting someone like Matthew Golden with upside or Josh Downs and hoping they come through. So it's an excellent point there, and it needs to be said. Do not,
just know what you're giving up. 100%.
Pick one of these guys for value, and I prefer tight end because of that reason.
Yeah, QB is a lot deeper. QB is much deeper, particularly in 10 team. I'm with you. Like that's the mistake. Like it's glaring to me. Like I could have had Kittle and flipped that; it would be much better. So yeah, I'm 100% with you.
Let you get yours here, but JJ said I would love to mock every time y'all stream. It's fun, always fun
every
practice with people who know ball.
Right.
JJ, our guy Jeremy, right below me on the cameras. Don't forget to subscribe. He's going live every day, 30 days, 30 mocks in August. So come tap in. You did say you're subscribed, so we appreciate it. Everyone else that's watching, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. We are the FFU. We are here with weekly shows happening. We want to help you win your leagues. That's our purpose here in the fantasy football universe. Don't forget to subscribe and tune in every time we're live and tap in as well, asking us questions. But Spencer, go ahead. Worst team for you right now looking at this mock?
Yeah, I mean, Team 6 is the cop-out, but it is definitely the worst. So of the real people teams, I'm going to go a little contrarian because we said we liked it, but Damon's team to me is the one that I really don't like. And I'll kind of walk through just why. And so to me, it's team regression. You got Brian Thomas pretty late there, but I'm a little worried about the Travis Hunter impact plus some touchdown normalcy. His touchdown percentage was pretty high last year. I don't think he'll drop off the face of the earth, obviously, but and maybe that offense is better, which normalizes it. But you got CD and Brian. That's a great start. But Jacobs, it was a healthy year last year. He tends to go every other year. So I'm a little bit worried with the workload he got last year. Maybe they air it out a little bit more. He had, again, just kind of dipping down just a little bit lower than what he was. Alvin Kamara, same thing. He's getting a little older. I think the volume's going to be there, but they're talking, it sounds like Tyler Shuck looks terrible, and Spencer Rattler is blowing him out of the water, which if Spencer Rattler's blowing you out of the water, you need to – you shouldn't be swimming. Get out of the water. And then you got Devontae Adams is another. He's stepping into a room. Stafford, the injury is really concerning me. It just doesn't sound good. Puka is going to be the guy there. It's the first time in his career he hasn't been the guy. I think even last year with Garrett Wilson, I'm not a huge Garrett Wilson guy, and also he had Aaron Rodgers hyper-targeting him. So even when he was in that room, it's his first time he has real chemistry competition, I'll say.
Okay.
And then you just keep going. Sam Laporta. I'm worried about the volume. It's he's the tight end that I don't think I've been pressing unless he really falls. Joe Mixon, he's still not playing. That's why I took Woody Marks late. It sounds real bad. Baker, another team regression candidate. High touchdown percentage last year. He rushed over 200 yards more than he ever has in his career. Liam Cohen's gone. Addison suspended. Don't love that. Tracy, Giants. The messages have been mixed out of camp, where sometimes it sounds like he's doing great. Sometimes it sounds like Cam Scatterbo is clear and away the best guy there, which I like Scatterbo, but it shouldn't be ever that he's the guy who's clear and by far best away. But such is the Giants. So I just think, to me, like that team, there's just so much risk with almost every pick to me for serious regression, and that concerns me with their team. So of the team 6 sort of gave us a boost by taking everybody we hate, so they made everyone else pretty good.
Team 6, we don't like your team. AI, we're gonna blame the AI on that one, and that's why AI shouldn't play fantasy football.
We should talk about Jamie's team real quick, because he's been sticking it out with us. Jamar Chase, Jonathan Taylor. Jonathan Taylor's fine there. I don't like him in that spot. There's a few guys I prefer ahead of him, but Lab McConkey I think is fine. And JT as your RB1, I do not mind. McLaurin there, still holding out. Will that affect his early season production? We'll see. But he's a stud. It won't do too much for him. He just needs to ramp up into game shape. Chuba Hubbard, I like Chuba, but I'm going to take James Cook over him, even though Cook has the same issue. Although I would say for running back, it's less of an issue than for wide receiver in terms of getting into shape, even though Cook is a bit smaller. Mahomes, for me, is another one of these guys who, we're expecting positive regression. I just think Steve Spagnuolo is different. He does not allow these games to get out of hand. Patrick Mahomes does not need to be Patrick Mahomes. He can be. And if he's throwing to Travis Kelce and Rashee Rice or all these guys underneath the whole time, he's just not going to get to those elite QB volume numbers that we expect. TJ Hawkinson, for me, again, same issue. But I like a lot of these later round picks. Travis Etienne is a value. He's going to be used heavily in the receiving game. I see him as Rashad White heavy to tank Bigsby's Bucky Light. I think both of these guys have RB2 potential in this offense, and they have the ability with contingent upside to become an RB1 if they just get all of the volume. We know that the passing game has weapons that need to be looked out for. Jennings is a great value. I think you see he went after Ricky Pearsall. Maybe he shouldn't be going after Ricky Pearsall. I believe Jennings is healthy as well. So Jaden Reed, Jalen Warren, Ramondre Stevenson, all of these guys late. Why not? Maybe Stevenson gets himself 10 touchdowns and he's David Montgomery for you. That's what you hope. JJ McCarthy late. Love that pick. Jalen Warren, Arthur Smith offense. So this team is very good and can compete. I do not love all of the picks at cost, but Jamie is a smart guy and he loves Rashawn Johnson. And apparently, if you've been listening to the buzz, Rashawn Johnson is now the goal line back.
Touchdown, baby. Touchdown.
That's the first time Ben Johnson said a word about him.
I will say the wide receiver room for San Francisco, everyone's hurt. Juwan Jennings has no timetable for his return from a calf injury, so that's why he's going so late. So just a heads up. But yeah, like he could be the guy when he comes back healthy, whatever that is. I think it's good.
No, good team overall. I think Jamar Chase at 101's a smash. Jonathan Taylor
Oh yeah.
ended the season very well. I think a big thing will
Yeah.
be if Richardson is healthy, that could easily take away some carries from him as well. Chuba Herbert should be good there. They did bring in Rico Dallo, so I don't know if that really affects his game there. Mahomes Hawkinson, I do like that as your quarterback and tight end. Etienne, and you look at Jalen Warren, Ramondre, all question marks at the position, but all guys that could end up being something of value there as well. So I actually think his team is pretty good, pretty solid for a redraft. Now, our last thing before we go, guys, I want to ask you. I'll split it up here. So we'll do out of the 4 rounds. We'll do in 3 different quarters here. Who is your favorite value pick here, Jeremy? I'll start with you. Rounds 1 through 4. Who is your favorite value pick? Looking at those rounds.
1 through 4. Interesting. I'm gonna go George Kittle. You have to get one of these early tight ends. You don't have to, but I think you do. George Kittle for me in the 4th round, regardless of format. He usually goes, I mean, we're in 10 team and a 12 team. He usually goes like 311. So it's right on ADP stamp. But like we talked about earlier, he should not be so separated from these other 2 tight ends. If you want to go early tight end, and I think you should try and get one of these guys, get George Kittle. The value is awesome.
Sure.
Thank you.
Jesse, we'll switch to you from rounds 5 to 9 there. Who's the value pick for you there?
I'm gonna go late. Let me see. Let me look through these really quick. I really like Calvin Ridley in that range of those wide receivers. I'm the most confident he's going to get that. So like, I just view the fact he should be up around with the Tets, the DJ Moores, Xavier in that range of player. The fact you're getting him more where Emeka, like Rome, Jerry, Judy, all guys that have question marks about them. We know Calvin Ridley's role. It's locked and loaded. He does play really deep down the field, so there's a little bit of issues with that. But Cam Ward's a good quarterback, so it should work out. So yeah, I'm gonna say Calvin Ridley 7-7. Like that's a really good pick.
Cam Ward had one of the best deep target accuracies last year in college football overall. So definitely a guy that's going to benefit in redraft. I mean, I have shares of Cam Ridley in Dynasty, and I'm holding him to a higher value because I'm like, this is a year he actually explodes further than what we think, just based on the quarterback there. And Spencer, to end this off, though, the remaining rounds, so 10 through 13, who is the best value pick for you there?
I'm torn here. I mean, I want to highlight Tyler Warren here. I know we're not getting quite at the end here, but the Tyler Warren pick, I feel like it's great value. All the buzz has been that he's going to be stepping into that role we've seen last 2 years. I don't know. I'm not calling it a pattern yet. 2 is a coincidence, but the last 2 years we've had rookie tight ends be the tight end 1. Tyler Warren looks poised for heavy volume. Daniel Jones hyper targets a guy when he gets the ball. Anthony Richardson, I would think with the injury, with everything that's going on, if you asked me a week ago, I would have said he's for sure the starter. Now, I'm not so sure. I think coach frustration is going to kick in, but either way, I think he's going to be. They're looking for a close safety blanket. He looked great in the preseason. He's looked great all camp. All they can do is keep talking about him. He's a perfect design play guy for a team that can't do much when they're trying to pass the ball. So I think to the moon, and then that late, it's to me he's very similar to Sam Laporta to me, and you get him 3 rounds later. That's awesome.
Yeah, he's really good.
I absolutely love that. I think Warren definitely has some opportunity there for him. But to your point, this is what rookie fever does, right? We see what the past couple seasons of rookies have done, and then we're like, oh, this is going to be it. But we've also seen that there are some classes that don't necessarily hit. So, just be wary on when you're doing that. Obviously, in rookie drafts, it's great. In startups, though, don't jump onto that rookie fever heavily at the beginning because there is always question marks for every single rookie that steps in. College football, that we do analyze that as well. But at the same time, that is not the pros. Everybody in the NFL is good, and everybody in there is faster than what they were in college as well. So keep that in mind when you're thinking about those situations. But Tyler Warren poised for a good spot there. Last question, guys, before we head out here, because JJ asked, do y'all think if he took T. Higgins over Hill for the Burrow stack that he smashes the draft? I personally think he kind of smashed it already. I mean, I know we have our questions about Tyreek Hill. If he took T. Higgins, I mean, it's not, they're kind of both high-end wide receivers too, potentially, so I don't see it as a crazy drop-off, but I mean, I give it a little bit more juice to his team if he takes Higgins over Hill.
Yeah. T. Higgins just health. Like that's the only issue with him. If he was wide receiver 5 on punch game base or something last year, like he's awesome, man. So like if he's healthy and you took T. Higgins, I think you'd be loving this team.
Yeah, but let's be clear about Tyreek Hill. I mean, he's still fast as hell. Like speed doesn't drop off. I think what we're concerned about with Hill is injury concern and the fact that like he's just not as invested. He never really was, but just as not as invested in kind of the day-to-day things to become the greatest wide receiver in the league. But it's very likely that Tyreek Hill can walk in off the street as he does every year and put up 1,300 yards, score 7 to 10 touchdowns, and catch 80 balls easily in a healthy offense where Miami has to score. I think the reason that we don't like him at this 307 cost is because of the risk that any one of these things might fall apart. But we know that Tyreek Hill it's a Christian McCaffrey sort of situation. If he plays the way he's capable of playing and if he's healthy, he can be the wide receiver 1. He's done it before. He's not in an age where he's not a Mike Evans where you can see the fall off. He's a guy who can absolutely explode every week.
Well, I will say with Tyreek Hill, the fall off already happened last year. He took a massive nosedive in his efficiency and overall. So that's already kind of built into him. So I don't think he's just going to fall off the face of the earth. But he dropped down to 21% target share. Like he was nowhere near the same player he was last year, the year before.
And that's fair, but I don't want to sit here and apologize for Jaden Waddle for all the same things with Tua being hurt and the injuries because Tyreek Hill experienced all the same things. So for me, I agree with what we were talking about earlier that the gap is far too much and Tyreek Hill because of the risk should be further down. But I don't think the fall off happened in terms of ability. I think there's a lot of other things. And obviously mentally he had some struggles, especially toward the end of the year with the game and the coach and whatever's going on in Miami. I think we're seeing a legit fall off in ability from Mike Evans, unfortunately, but I don't see that from Tyreek Hill.
I view it differently. I think we've already kind of seen it from Tyreek. Like I don't think Tyreek Hill can be the wide receiver 1. Like I don't think that's in his range of outcomes anymore. But she's not like he's a bad player. That's just kind of where I'm at.
Right. Yeah, fair.
Very possible. And that's what we do getting closer to the season. All these questions come to mind and what we're thinking, how we're evaluating these players. And preseason kind of gives us an idea on that, but really it doesn't because sometimes the coaches don't even run out their entire offense and what they're planning on doing until the season happens. Then we really get a view on these. So with these kind of situations, I think, ask us again week 4, week 5-ish when we have an idea of what the system's looking like and how they're running and what teams are doing, how they actually look against true ones, not just a one for a drive, because that's when we really start to dive in and say, hey, these are the true values and how we can really adjust each and every single one of these players there as well. That's anything else on this mock, guys?
No, we did it.
We did it. I mean, again, thank you for everyone joining in. Don't forget to subscribe today to the Fantasy Football Universe YouTube channel. We are here with you in live shows throughout the week from our guys, Mike and Rich and the Dynasty Dogs, from Jeremy, Adjust the Ranks, from myself and Spencer doing the Debbie Planet, Jesse on the weekends with the FFU Roundtable and the Start Sits. Those are going to be exciting during season, here to help you all season long to make sure you're winning your leagues and doing everything correctly. Until next time, we are the FFU. I'm SC Romero. To my right is Jeremy. To his right is Jesse. And then to his right is Spencer. For our guys, the Dynasty Dogs as well. We appreciate y'all joining in and signing off. There you go.
FFU. FFU.